No doubt. Let's talk a little bit about the Conquistadors. This is kind of fun. They're trying to get a title shot, talking about Edge and Christian. And they've had so many with the Hardys that, well, maybe they think they need to go away and learn a new hold. They get under some gold hoods and call themselves the Conquistadors. Of course, this is a tag team we saw in the 80s with Jose Rivera and Jose Estrada. But now we're going to have the Conquistadors here as Edge and Christian. And then once we're going to prove that they're not the Conquistadors and actually have them wrestle or at least appear in the same segments with them, that winds up being Aaron Aguilera and Christopher Daniels under the mask when they do that. But what do you think of, hey, we're going to do the old school whodunit, the Scooby Doo, if you will, and we're going to make Edge and Christian dress up like Conquistadors? I think it's funny, but I don't think the crowd necessarily got it. When we saw them at No Mercy, the crowd was kind of dead. I think we would have got a bigger pop if we were just Edge and Christian. What do you
Oh,
think?
oh yeah, no doubt. Edge of Christian was the ticket. I just thought it was just an old wrestling gag. It's like Dusty being the Midnight Rider, a cowboy being what was he? He was his mask deal. I can't remember the name now. Junkyard Dog.
Stagger
All,
Lee.
Stagger Lee went through all. They went through all that shit. It's old, but somewhere along the way it worked. And some booker sitting in a room trying to figure out what to put on TV thought of it and said, "Hell, let's do this. It might work." It did. It did back in '87 or whatever. So yeah, I didn't really have a problem with it because it's just we were doing some crazy shit, Conrad. Like I said, it seemed like the ship was running a little loose.
Let's talk a little bit about what we see because I should mention at No Mercy, the Conquistadors win the tag titles, but the next day we're doing something pretty fun. We're in Hartford, Connecticut. We've got a hot main event. The Conquistadors are going to do all their signature spots as the Hardys because it's the Hardys dressed up like the Conquistadors, and they're going to beat Edge in a handicap match to retain the title. After the match, Mick Foley's going to come out with a tape that shows that Edge and Christian were the Conquistadors, at least they were at the pay per view. And the Hardys bought the outfits from the guys who were doing the gimmick earlier on TV. That was Aaron Aguilera and Christopher Daniels. That's kind of fun. You know, this Scooby Doo. It's a
Yeah,
little silly, a little tongue in cheek. I don't know that the audience was keeping up with it at the time, but the reveal, it was worth it to me. I dug it.
it was a segment that did not feature an overwhelming amount of steak. However, it did contribute an ample amount of sizzle. If you're okay with sizzle, you can handle it for 7, 8, 10 minutes, then you're cool. If you don't like sizzle, you want hardcore wrestling, you want Cowboy Bill Watts and Ernie Ladd or somebody, then then everything can't be that. But if it were, I'd certainly lean that way as far as the hardcore stuff. Hardcore meaning hardcore wrestling, hard chops, hard kicks, hard slams, and then subsequently selling it as if it almost killed you. That's what finishes the sentence. That's your last chapter of your book, selling.
We should also mention that the next week on Raw is when we see Edge and Christian break out the kazoos. It's the first time they used a kazoo. It seems silly, but these guys were able to get over the kazoo. That's when you know that you've got talent and the writing team on the same page with the fans. I mean, a kazoo. I mean, who would have thought they'd get that over?
I sure as hell didn't. I probably would have, in my headstrong ways, probably would have said, "No, we ain't doing that."
Yeah.
But you got to give things a chance, and you got to let it, get a dry run or two. And I'm with you. I was shocked that it got over, but it got over.
Edge and Christian are going to soon regain the titles from the Hardys in a four-way at the December pay-per-view Armageddon. They're going to lose the tag straps to the Dudleys at the Royal Rumble. And we're doing all this to build up yet another TLC at WrestleMania. Edge and Christian are once again going to capture their record-setting 7th WWF Tag Team title. Meltzer would say a statistic so meaningless nowadays, it was never even referred to on the broadcast. This is a crazy match. I mean, it feels like we keep saying this, but these tables, ladders, and chairs matches, this one in particular, WrestleMania 17, is the one everybody talks about. 4 3/4 stars. We know we're going to see run-ins from Lita and Rhino. I mean, just crazy bumps all over the place here. I mean, Spike Dudley's even getting involved. Everybody's taking a big bump here. The finish would see Rhino pick Christian up on his shoulders, climb the ladder with Christian on his back so he could grab the belts. They're going to come down as the winners. I mean, this is one crazy stunt after another. The Torch gave it 4 1/4 stars. The Observer gave it 4 3/4 stars. And there's a lot, for everybody having a second on the team. Of course, the Dudleys have Spike. The Hardys have Lita. Rhinos with Edge and Christian here. So we're at least trying to get some other folks over as well.
Yeah. More tackling dummies. More tackling dummies, Conrad, because they were used physically, and it helped. It gave it a little different feel. Just a little, but a little different feel. There's another 2 olives in your martini.
Did you feel like WrestleMania 17 at the time was the best WrestleMania of all time, the biggest WrestleMania of all time?
It's the best one I worked.
Yeah.
The best one I worked. I worked that, and I remember it very well because I worked the show with Heyman, and I thought we had a great night. I really did. He got up for big matches like I did, because he gave a shit, and he like me, his ego was so big that he didn't want to look bad. And we had a great product to call, and the atmosphere in Houston at the Astrodome. I remember sitting in front of my little TV with my dad, and the NBC affiliate in Tulsa carried all the AFC Houston games. So I got to be a little bit of a fan of the Houston Horse, Earl Campbell, and all that stuff. But it was just surreal to be in that venue doing pro wrestling. It was almost incomprehensible, like you're having a crazy dream. So wake up and go back to sleep. But it wasn't no dream. It was real.
We should run through the card real fast because WrestleMania 17, I think most people remember that for Rock and Austin on top.
Yeah.
But I think after that, it's probably this match, the TLC. I think they think of it more than Angle and Benoit, more than Guerrero and Test, more than Kane and Raven and Big Show, more than Jericho and Regal, more than Chyna and Ivory, more than the gimmick battle royal, more than the Undertaker and Triple H. I do think that it's Rock and Austin, and then it's this TLC match as the most memorable. Do you think that's right?
Yeah, because we had no bill for Undertaker and Triple H. They didn't get the bill that 2 talents of their caliber and their stature deserved. I remember that match got booked real late and added to the card. So there was a good while there we were promoting other stuff that those 2 guys were not even booked. You can believe that. So it all goes into planning. They got on the show, but it was kind of a tepid match. It wasn't hot. And we all know that those guys got great chemistry, and they can heat that son of a bitch up when they wanted to. They just had there was no storyline build up to it.